Joining us now is a firm opponent of the Affordable Care Act, Republican Congressman Michael Burgess of Texas. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I understand that you don't like the law, but this is a law that has been voted on by Congress, affirmed
Correct.
by the Supreme Court, led
Correct.
by a president who was, last time I looked, re-elected in November. Are you happy to burn down the country for the sake of a commitment to defunding or repealing the Affordable Care Act?
Well, Martin, the truth is I actually have a different perspective. In fact, I agree with Senator Burgess, who said that this thing could be a train wreck. Now, look, if I see a train wreck coming down the track, why wouldn't I do everything I possibly could to prevent that wreck from happening?
So you would, so are you saying, sir, that you believe we should refuse to fund the government, that you pick up your paycheck, but soldiers in Afghanistan don't, that you pick up your paycheck and federal employees serving this nation throughout the country, you agree with that?
States House of Representatives a week ago passed a bill to fund every aspect of the federal government well into the month of December, but did not put any more money toward what appears to be a failing proposition in the Affordable Care Act. I think that was a responsible bill. I wish that Senator Reid had paid more attention to it. Now, they have countered today. I don't know why it took them a week to come up with a counter, but they countered today. I'll be at my desk tomorrow working. The Rules Committee will meet to consider a rule for further appropriations for the next fiscal year, and it will come to the floor either Saturday or Sunday. And I fail to see how the Senate's not accepting of the House's position is somehow more honorable than the House not accepting the Senate's position. It is our obligation to work these things back and forth. After all, that's why we're all duly elected.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, sir, that if truth be told, if nothing's resolved, then the government shuts down next week. Now, I know that the Republican House has wanted to attach a Christmas list of about 40 other things to any kind of continuing resolution. And so I guess
that's actually not true. That was there is a debt limit discussion that went on yesterday that was probably more resembled what you're discussing.
Yes, indeed.
But what is in front of us now is the appropriations lapse that would occur at midnight on September 30th. And look, I don't disagree. Everybody knew this was coming. I have been arguing for some time that, look, we know what's just around the corner. The end of the fiscal year happens. The next day, the exchanges are supposed to open up in the Affordable Care Act. They're not going to work. People who come to our committee refuse to answer questions, even the simplest, most basic questions about what this thing will look like on October 1st. The American people get that. They see is you don't throw good money after bad. That's what people in my district are telling me. I feel the same way. I am not at odds with the people in North Texas.
I understand, sir, what you're saying. But would it not be more appropriate, given the legislative success and the Supreme Court's affirmation of the law, and the fact that this president was elected twice, would it not be more sensible to at least allow the act to have its way, to take place, to allow the American people to taste and see if the law is good or bad? And at that point, the evidence will... I don't know why you're laughing, sir, but the suggestion, the implication from someone like your colleague Michelle Bachmann is that this law is literally killing people.
I'm trying to answer your question, Martin. There is a school of thought that says, yeah, this thing is so bad it's going to collapse under its own weight. Just let the cookie crumble and let the Democrats own the whole thing. The problem is, I see a train wreck coming. I believe I am obligated to try to prevent that train wreck from happening, or at least minimize the damage to the people surrounding it. Now, you are correct to point out the things you've said, but remember back in 1988, Dan Rostenkowski, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee here in the United States House of Representatives, passed what he called a catastrophic care bill. He was very proud of that bill. He went home and his people revolted. They stormed him out of a town hall meeting. He came back to Washington the next session of Congress that January and repealed his own bill. Now, President Reagan had signed the first one. President Bush signed the repeal because there was a change in presidency along the way. But it's exactly the situations you're describing.
Sir, you sound to me as though you're describing your friend, Senator Ted Cruz, and the farrago that we've just seen there, with him seeking...
There's no relationship between this and Ted Cruz. There are plenty of people who do feel this thing is so bad, get out of the way and let it collapse. But I'm sorry, I can't do that. My training as a physician tells me I see something bad happening, I've got to use everything available at my disposal to try to prevent it from happening. It's really as simple as that.
Well, I'm sure it is, and I wish you all the best this weekend, and let's hope that you're not responsible for bringing the government down to a shutdown. Congressman Michael Burgess, thank you. Stay with us.